Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another weekend edition here of the PondCast. The PondCast number episode 86, your weekly dose of all things StarCraft. I'm of course Josai VIP. With me, I'm joined by, of course, Kura handling the production and the lovely people in the chat as well. Welcome, one and all, to our weekly wrap-up show. Again, there's a lot going on in StarCraft news and StarCraft adjacent news as well. A lot to get into, and let's jump right into our topics, our news. Let's go. Let us go. Up first, there was a massive interview with Jeff Kaplan. Jeff Kaplan, he was one of the OGs back at Blizzard, did work extensively in regards to World of Warcraft, StarCraft, Overwatch, and a big pillar of I want to say the Blizzard development team for quite some time. Jeff Kaplan, he did actually retire. I say retire. He did end up leaving Blizzard. He stepped away from the limelight for a very long time. I want to say for around 5 years, and recently did actually break out into the limelight once again and have a massive interview with Lex Friedman. Lex Friedman podcast episode 493. It is again a very extensive interview, 5 hours long. Crazy. It's a 5-hour long interview. It's very in depth. What I will say about this interview, just they go over quite a lot of ground, covering, Jeff Kaplan and his early days getting into gaming, his early career, his early studies, eventually leading into the story of how he joined Blizzard for the first time, how he was able to be a part of the team, his work on World of Warcraft, his work, or I should say the culture of Blizzard as well, how that changed over time, how their work ethic changed over time, how things used to be done, and of course his big contributions to World of Warcraft, and also some insights into StarCraft as well, where we also got to hear some interesting tidbits that we had not heard before. So very quickly here, again, it's a very long interview. I do recommend checking it out yourselves. I will say that when it comes to the format of the interview, it's mainly Jeff speaking for 5 hours. Lex, I would say, does a good job in regards to just giving the microphone and everything to Jeff. There's less of a back and forth. It's mainly just Jeff discussing and talking about about his life essentially, and how everything came to pass. Definitely some ups, definitely some downs. In regards to specifically StarCraft, I guess actually let's kind of take a step back a little bit here. So Jeff, he initially was a part of the World of Warcraft team. He was a part of the quest development, I should say, for the first time, which was actually pretty huge. It was a pretty big kind of turning point in gaming, the questing system in World of Warcraft for MMOs. For those who are unaware, for those that weren't around back in the day, but in the past, it was very common for MMOs and for massive multiplayer online games to be very grindy, very grindy. That was like the go-to. Quests were at a minimum, and it was very common to just stay in an area, kill mobs, grind for hours on end to level up, to kind of reach that next level of progression. Like that was the go-to. And even currently, there are still some modern MMOs that do actually embrace that, like some of the Korean MMOs, some of the Japanese MMOs as well, where it's very grind heavy. That has slowly changed over the years, but it was World of Warcraft that kind of did initiate that, and Jeff was a big part of that. He was initially a writer and was brought on to be a writer for the questing and help develop the questing part of World of Warcraft, which kind of led to its mainstream popularity coming in towards the early 2000s. Stepping on from that, he then was chosen to be a lead, to take a lead, or to be the lead of Team 2 or Team 3, but he eventually became a leading figure, kind of leading development for Titan. Titan was going to be the next MMO, if you recall. Infamously, it was cancelled, but they did work on it for 5 long years. 5 years of development on Titan, and he spoke about how it was one of his biggest failures, and the team's biggest failures, just because, or specifically him, as he did, of course, lay blame on the leadership, just because there was very little cohesive kind of like goal and direction in regards to Titan. They had all these little ideas, but they had no kind of like leading axiom to kind of like bring them all together. There were all these like conflicting ideologies, and very often he was actually speaking on how they were just burning money, like having, say, artists or designers, work on assets for worlds and environments and a story that hadn't even been built yet. So they were just doing all this like busy work, making crates or working on like a Chinatown set or a Hollywood set, and all of this stuff, even though they didn't necessarily know the kind of world that they were building. So it was very messy, very messy. I mean, I think he even infamously said in this interview even that like 2 years in, he knew that like it was not going to work, and he had to have that hard talk and discussion with Mike Morhaime eventually about canceling the project. Now, when that happened, when he approached Mike Morhaime about canceling, Titan, and how it was just not going to work, and how they had to axe the project. What happened was all the developers and everyone that was working on Titan, they were all split between Hearthstone, World of Warcraft, Diablo 3 at the time, between all these other games. The team was shrunk down to, I want to say, around 80 or so people, like a much smaller team. And he was given 6 weeks to pitch an idea for a new game, right? For a new game, he was given 6 weeks to come up with an idea. And another part of that was that he would only have 2 years to develop, right? They'd already spent 5 years developing something that came to nothing. And of course, this is back when it was Activision Blizzard. They were also a publicly traded company that had shareholders, and they were receiving a lot of pressure to release a new game. And all this work had kind of amounted to nothing. So they were only given 2 years. I bring this all up because one of the ideas that they pitched, what they did was they decided, okay, we got 6 weeks to come up with a new idea, to come up with a new game. We're going to spend 2 weeks on one idea and hyperfix it on that, and then spend 2 weeks on another idea, and then 2 weeks on another idea. That was like the kind of the plan. And one of the first things they kind of went to was a StarCraft MMO. It's called StarCraft Frontier, or StarCraft Frontiers, and they had Chris Metzen like come up with the initial like character idea for the main character. I believe the way that they were thinking about it was that the main character would actually be like a space prospector. You wouldn't be like a Marine in the army or anything like that. You'd be more of like someone exploring the world of StarCraft, and you'd be able to travel around and go to all these different places, and it'd be from a very different kind of perspective as well, not necessarily tied to one faction or one race, very, very separate from all of that. They were coming with all these ideas and all these concepts and class designing as well, and they fell in love with the idea. They really did fall in love with it. They really did want to make it. The problem is that very quickly they found that despite the passion and despite the drive, there was no shot that they could do it. They could develop that game in 2 years, like no shot. Jeffy said that at minimum it will take 5 years, most likely 7, to develop a game like a StarCraft MMO. With the team that they had. So they spent those 2 weeks kind of working on it. Then again, they scrapped the idea. It's just something that they couldn't feasibly work on and couldn't feasibly build. The other idea that they were working on was, I think it was called Crossroads or Crossworlds, which was like another kind of like MMO, fresh IP sort of thing, and it was definitely had its own idea. And I think even, God, I remember they spoke about McCree and how McCree's designed character was kind of like was inspiring the main character. It was either in Crossroads or in the StarCraft Frontiers game. But eventually that's when they floated the idea of, because they had all these assets, I just name dropped like the Chinatown set design or the Hollywood set design. Those eventually became maps in Overwatch, right? Eventually they came up with they were thinking about classes and thinking about how to approach like the class system in an MMO, and they floated the idea of having like a class that is hyper specialized in one thing. There's like one unique thing about that class, and eventually that turned into the class system in Overwatch, right? With Tracer, who can turn back time, with Reinhardt, who has the shield that can charge, with Winston, who can jump around, who's his own tank. But eventually, like, it expanded out into all those characters, and they eventually settled on Overwatch, especially because it was a lot smaller scale, right? It wasn't an MMO; it was like a team-based FPS game instead. It was much smaller in scope, smaller in scale. And instead they settled on Overwatch, which became very successful, by the way. Like, everyone played Overwatch. Like, it was a massively successful game. He also actually kind of expanded on that, and he spoke about how initially when they pitched the idea of Overwatch, because they needed to sell the idea to like the board, to like to those higher ups that were just deciding it and and actually signing off on this sort of stuff. When it came to the pitch meeting, and when it came to like the boards that were showing, they actually showed like Overwatch, and then they showed like a roadmap or a timeline of like in the future, like Overwatch Mobile and Overwatch 2 PvE, like that sort of thing. And he actually said that he had no intention of ever doing like Overwatch on mobile, or like or doing anything further than that. That was just there to make it look good, just so they could get the green light to make the game. like he was like that was only there just to sell the idea, just to have them just have them, green light and actually push through the idea of actually developing the game. And again, it worked really well. But the problem was, because of that pitch meeting, and because initially when they sold the idea of Overwatch, they had the PvE Overwatch 2 aspect there on the horizon. That's something that was always looming over their heads, and something that they were always pushing for, right? Like eventually the higher ups, they were like, hey, you promised this aspect of the game in a couple of years. Where is it? You need to work on this. Whereas they were fixated on the live game that was being released, and they were doing like these Halloween events and a Lucio Ball for the World Cup and all these other things, but they were getting a bunch of pressure to take development away from Overwatch and to work on this PvE aspect, and it's something that the team wasn't quite able to achieve. He spoke about like inner conflict within the development team, talking about how there were like a group of people that didn't care at all about the PvP Overwatch 1 game that they had made, and they were pushing more towards the PvE aspect instead, and there was like this inner conflict, and there was, and he admits that he made the mistake of hiring and bringing these people on initially, to eventually work on that, when it was something that they never really intended to focus on too much, and they kept pushing for that sort of thing, and there was this like inner kind of like tension that eventually hurt the game in the end, because you had a bunch of people that were working on the game that didn't like what Overwatch 1 was, and wanted something more, something different, something that wasn't Overwatch. So he spoke on that, and eventually spoke on him leaving the company as well, and kind of everything that happened around then. And again, it's very in-depth. It's a very in-depth interview, and he goes into a lot in regards to what was happening behind the scenes, more than I think we were expecting. I mean, it's 5 hours. It's 5 hours. I think there are some sections where they actually had to bleep out, just because there were certain things they actually couldn't necessarily speak on. So there are a couple of extra sections which are censored in regards to, I want to say, like specific like monetary details about pricings and how some things did cost. But outside of that, like, he was able to speak freely on quite a bit, actually. On quite a bit. One of the other reasons why he actually jumped on and gave this interview after so long is because he's working on a new game. He revealed that he started his own game studio. Funnily enough, he had a bunch of contacts from ex-Blizzard employees that wanted to work together on something, and he basically dragged them all on, which is a common thing that we've heard about, Stormgate and some of these other games as well. And he started his own company, and they've been developing this game for the past 5 years. Basically, ever since he's been MIA, like, they've been working on this other game. I want to say they're being published by Dreamhaven, which Dreamhaven, that is the initiative made by Mike Morheim. So there's other like Blizzard ties going on there as well, and they did end up releasing like a teaser trailer during this interview. The game that he's working on is called Legend of California. Throughout the interview, he was talking about some games that he did really enjoy, some shooter games, of course, namely Rust. And he was kind of alluding to games like Rust, 7 Days to Die, and Minecraft, like these first-person kind of like more crafty games. I think he was even alluding to Red Dead Redemption. It's very similar. Legend of California is like it seems to me, at least with limited information that we have, is like a Western style or Western setting game, but also has a lot of crafting components. Unlike some of the other games that I mentioned, there's no like it looks like the survival aspect is a little bit more minimal, and it's a little bit more cooperation focused instead. But yeah, there's limited information out about it, and I'm sure we're going to get more information in the coming months when it comes closer to release. But yeah, it's really interesting. It's really interesting. I know there's definitely an appetite for a game like this, which is less intense compared to Rust, which Rust is like hyper PvP focused, for example, hyper PvP. And he spoke that this is going to be, definitely toned down compared to that. Doesn't want to make it as extreme as Rust. But yeah, it definitely looks interesting, and it's cool to see that Jeff is back, making this kind of content. They even made some jokes and references that like now it's back. What's the name of the guy? Dino Flask. Yeah, they were like, oh, Dino Flask is gonna have a field day with this one. He's like, who's like notorious for like clipping Jeff and making all of these supercuts.
Yeah, it's a person who's famous for splicing entire like dev interviews of Jeff Kaplan into its own like story. So you can check that out on his channel. But I would say that as soon as this interview dropped, Dinoflask did suddenly post on Twitter, even though he hasn't been there for years. Like he just like activated the moment this interview dropped.
Yeah, exactly. He woke up from his slumber. But yeah, it's a very extensive interview, very in depth. He speaks about his own issues, his own troubles, right? He spoke about how he traveled to New York when he was younger to be a writer, and he did as much as he could. He worked hard, and he got like almost 200 rejection letters. He would write every single day, and failing to be an accomplished writer like that, like it set him down like a dark path. He spoke about issues with like alcoholism. He spoke about his escape into EverQuest and into MMOs, where that's what he would do to kind of get away from a lot of these issues as well. And his story about how in EverQuest, like he ended up meeting and making a bunch of friends and meeting people that worked at Blizzard, and that's how he got his first interview and he got his into Blizzard. And also speaking about how he met his wife in EverQuest and all this stuff. So yeah, it's very very in depth, going through his entire career, the beginning, middle, and current time as well. And again, when it comes to specifically StarCraft, like there is also that story, that tale regarding StarCraft and regarding the StarCraft MMO as well. So yeah, it's really cool. It's interesting to hear about something that could have been and maybe will be in the future, right? A StarCraft MMO, but at least hearing as to the kind of environment that they were in and why that never came to pass, just because of what happened with Titan and the failure that was Titan as well. I think one of the questions I would have liked to have heard asked regarding that portion of the interview would have been, I mean, I feel like we know the answer to it. Would have been why initially they were pushing something like Titan so much. But I think the answer to that is that they did want to create a new IP. Like they didn't want to just be pigeonholed and only make like StarCraft games or Warcraft games in that universe. I mean, and they wanted to make something new and something different. And Titan was that attempt to it. And again, they were successful in doing so, right? With Overwatch, right? That was a new IP. That was its own new unique world, and they were successful in creating that. But I think obviously that's why initially they weren't too keen on jumping into like something like a StarCraft MMO, because they wanted to make something new, something different, and in the end they were able to. It's interesting to kind of like hear all of this as well, just because obviously Blizzard is a very different company even to what it became when Jeff left. I'm referring specifically to the acquisition of to Microsoft's acquisition of Blizzard, and how things have been changing, and how it feels like things are changing for the better. In regards to their publicity, or in regards to their communication and their connection to the community, and it does feel like, I would say, at least over the past 2 years, like it feels like Blizzard, they're slowly kind of like rebuilding that kind of connection that they once had. It's going to take a long time, but it feels like they're on the road to doing so. I'm referring specifically to like the Warcraft 3 patch, the Heroes of the Storm patch, the StarCraft 2 patch as well, the return of like BlizzCon and the Blizzard Cup as well. It does feel like, of course, using the StarCraft IP in the StarCraft miniatures game, and the new StarCraft game that's coming out by Nexon as well, like the shooter game. So there's a lot that is going well. It feels like obviously that now under new direction, now under new leadership, Blizzard is heading in a better direction than it was over the past 5 years. Better late than never, I suppose, and we'll see where it takes us. Yeah. But here we go. Here we go. So again, do recommend it. Do recommend checking out the interview. Again, it's very, very in-depth, and there's a lot to get into. So do check it out. Again, 5 hours, Pappy. Crazy. Crazy. Up next, we had the interview with Musti, someone that I'm very unfamiliar with, by the way. Apparently, they're a little bit more of a well-known, popular streamer. I believe he's from Turkish. He's a Turkish streamer, living in Germany, of course. A part of the world that I'm a little bit less familiar with, to be honest. But it was really cool to hear because of that, because I'm very unfamiliar with the character that is Musti. So really cool to kind of hear his. It was a little bit more of a personal interview from the StarCraft historian. This was filmed back in Home Story Cup. That would have been earlier this year, so relatively recent when it comes to interviews themselves. And it went into his experience in Germany, especially as a foreigner, right, as someone coming in from another country, and how it felt coming to Germany, and how people treated him. Likewise, in regards to StarCraft and getting into streaming and becoming more of a well-known popular streamer as well. kind of establishing himself, his perspective on esports and on streaming. And yeah, again, it was a little bit more of like I would say like a more personal interview, more so than what we've seen previously, which I did appreciate. Like, again, it's a character that I'm very unfamiliar with, so it was nice to kind of be introduced to them and hear from them and hear about them as well. So yeah, it was really cool. Again, it does sound like now we have more interviews coming from Home Story Cup as well. This might be the wrap up of. I mean, it's hard to say really. Is this us now done with all the EWC interviews? Right, we just had one from Kalaris, from Rotterdam, from all the players as well. Now that we're jumping to Home Story Cup, like, do we have any more interviews with players or not? Like, it's hard to say. we don't have like a timeline from the SC historian. But
I will say we already had interviews from Home Story Cup, I'm pretty sure. So I think maybe it's not like in chronological order, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, this is the most recent Home Story Cup though. This is from. Like,
oh yeah, it was like previous Home Story. That was the other one. Okay.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So this is from my understanding, it's from this most recent one. I guess it's hard to know. I guess this could be from like a year ago. I suppose could be, but from my understanding, it's from this most recent Home Story Cup. So that would be a new kind of a new fresh batch, a new fresh set of interviews coming from Home Story Cup from last month. Or from 2 months ago at this point, from earlier this year. So again, yeah, I do recommend it again, especially if you're maybe a little bit unfamiliar, to be introduced, or even if you are familiar with Musty, to kind of hear a little bit more from his perspective, from his upbringing as well, getting to StarCraft, getting into esports. I do appreciate it. Big shout out to the SC historian. Big shout out. That leads us into our next big piece of news here, and that is the TLMC, the Team Liquid Map Contest. If you recall, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, there was the announcement of the announcement, and now we have the announcement. Let's go. So Team Liquid Map Contest number 22, again, we all knew that this was happening. We already heard murmurings of map makers working on their submissions and working on their maps, and now it has been officially announced, and it looks like we have a better idea as to why there was a delay on the announcement. So TLMC for a very, very long time, for many years, was sponsored by Monster Energy, and is still of course being sponsored by Monster, but now they have another sponsor coming into this most recent TLMC 22, and that is Shopify Rebellion. So it sounds like maybe there was some, I don't want to say complications, but some things to iron out just because of the new sponsorship, and maybe some things that they were pushing for, or just something they had to agree on. Hard to say, but it is always good to see and good to hear that because of this sponsorship from Shopify, it does mean that there's going to be more prize money and more monetary compensation available for those that do submit and do get into the upper echelons of maps here. So again, it's going to be a greater prize money here for those competing in the TLMC and the map makers themselves, and also for the TLMC test map tournaments as well. So they will both have boosted prize pools thanks to additional funding and thanks to additional sponsorship. So a big shout out to Shopify for taking that step. Apparently they had sponsored TLMC in the past, number 15 and 17, but now they're back for number 22. Hard to say if this will continue, I should say if the sponsorship will continue into more additions to come. I mean, we'll find out. We will find out regardless. Really cool to see the additional support for TLMC. When it comes to the overall timeline for the TLMC, submission phase is now currently open. It's open from March the 18th to March the 30th, so we do have quite some time to submit maps. So if you're out there, if you're listening, and if you want to get into map making yourself, then do consider jumping in. And hey, you got just over a week to submit all those maps and to get into the TLMC. Meanwhile, the judging phase is going to be March 31st to April 13th. That is to kind of sift through like the 100 or so maps to get into like just the top of the top, to be able to get into eventually public testing or public voting. So that's going to be until the 13th of April. Then we have the test tournament. That'll be from the 14th of April to the 26th. That is typically organized and hosted by Wardy TV. Not just that, but usually whenever we get into the test tournament phase of the TLMC, other tournament organizers like ourselves, like Pigstar Cup, Sparkling Tuna Cup, alongside others, KSL, they'll most likely update their map pools to feature some of those top-rated TLMC maps, to show them off to the public and to be able to get as much information, as much testing as possible, to have a better idea and better information and just more informed coming to the voting phase. And public voting and a lot of map selection will be sometime in May. So here we go. So we have our new TLMC. Again, we also have the final prize distribution as well for the TLMC with a $250 base prize pool for all the top 16 map makers, and then, or for every single map, I would imagine. And then first place receives 300, second place 250, third place 200, fourth 150, and fifth place 100. Again, that is on top of the 250 base prize. Bear that in mind. So not bad whatsoever. And of course, we then have the submission rules, which for the most part, from my understanding, are very, very similar to the previous ones, like nothing too crazy here. I think there's like a little bit more details. Yeah, it even says here, like refer to TLMC 18 for the category guidelines. So again, there's been no change in the category guidelines or anything like that. It's as it has been over the past couple of editions. And again, 11 days, there we go. There's a timer at the bottom, let's go. Just under 12 days remaining to submit your maps. Beautiful, beautiful. So best of luck to all the map makers out there. Best of luck. And likewise, just like last time, I'll probably reach out to Wax and to reach out regarding being a judge again. I enjoyed the experience last time. It was very intense just because there were so many maps to go through, but I'm intentionally trying to lower the amount of casting that we're doing here on the channel, and ideally that does give a little bit more free time to actually go through those maps and even make some, maybe even make some map streams as well, going over the maps themselves. So we'll be requesting to be a judge again. We'll do our best. Do our best. Ooh, up next, we did have some unfortunate news. Yeah, it's definitely a little bit heartbreaking to hear, to see something that we've all been waiting for and all been looking forward to later on this year in 2026 was Belém Gen Stars Agora. If you recall, they announced their events well ahead of time. They did so last year as well in regards to the big event happening in Bulgaria. That is something that everyone has been looking forward to, but unfortunately, we did receive the announcement that Belém Gen Stars Agora 2026 is not going to be taking place. Is very unfortunate here, but I would imagine a big part of this, I mean, they were very transparent about it. Of course, without EWC, without additional funding, it is going to be coming to an end. They did of course run Belém Gens for 2 years, and it was a strong 2 years as well. Shout out to Exalted. Yeah, shout out to Exalted for having a big response and write-ups. Likewise, Constantine as well. So Constantine and both Exalted did actually have some big responses, getting a little bit more into detail as to what it was like behind the scenes, and a little bit of the rationale behind the end of Belém Gen Stars Agora. I shouldn't say the end of, because I believe they do plan on continuing events in the future, but of course a little more scaled back, and most likely focused on the Bulgarian scene, right? So thinking, if you remember, they were organizing like these weeklies or these seasonal events for Bulgarian players on Bulgarian StarCraft. I can see them continuing that. Like, most likely that's going to be continuing forward, but when it comes to like these big international offline events, that less of a chance of happening. And they went into greater detail in regards to the cost of running an event like this. They were speaking about how it would cost, 150,000 up to like 250,000 euros a year to kind of like run the organization, to organize the event, to run the event, prize pool, flights, everything involved. And they were kind of earning some money back thanks to like ticket sales, sponsorships, donations, but it was nowhere near enough to break even. And we saw that Constantine especially was spending a lot, and Exalted as well. They were spending their own money on the event just to keep it going, just to keep it running. And they were able to do so for 2 years, but it's now something where they cannot quite justify or afford to continue to do that and continue to run this for more years to come. So is now coming to an end. I do recommend checking out the Twitter posts made by both Constantine and by Exalted regarding this. Again, like they're a lot more, they're very transparent, kind of like in their feelings and coming into it, their ambitions as well, and how unfortunately that does have to, they had to make the hard decision to have it come to an end here. But as I mentioned before, that they will be they'll be working in StarCraft in different capacities, of course, and from my understanding, that'll be in a more of a local capacity for Bulgarian StarCraft. So it is very sad to see. It's very sad to see, very sad to hear. as the event was something that we were all looking forward to and unfortunately won't be happening. But I wish both Constantine and Exalted the best in regards to their future endeavors, their future projects, as again, they are still going to be continuing in StarCraft and doing their own events in StarCraft as well, just in a different capacity. So do wish them the best. That leads us into a bit of news regarding OSC. OSC, they of course are the amalgamation of all these online events in StarCraft. They all do provide OSC points, and we have some stats. We have some stats coming in. We're still only a couple of months into 2026, but you know, it's a nice way to give some credit and to give a shout out to the players that are achieving a lot and competing as much as they can. No surprises here, but Percival, he's played in the most events this year, the most online OSC partnered events, with 32 under his belt. Again, Percival has been insanely active, and it translates into his results. Like, he's been getting better and better results as a result of that. Meanwhile, Beyond has won the most events, hasn't played in the most, but did win 10 OSC events so far. So GG, well played. Shout out to both Beyond and Percival. Again, they're both very active in the online tournament scene, and both getting some of the recognition that they do deserve as well. GG. GG, GG. That leads us into the San Fran office LAN that did take place. Shout out to the Zergo, shout out to Kathy, as it looks like an office LAN was actually organized in San Francisco. It was open to the public. I believe they have a Discord, a local Discord for those that happen to be in the San Francisco area, and they actually were able to bring some interesting people together. Of course, I did spot Ravi. Ravi was a part of that as well. Este Ravi, alongside many others. And apparently, like, more people showed up than they were ready for, and they were just playing some like FFA, some 1v1, some mono battles, arcade, just having fun together, and you know, experiencing, enjoying StarCraft together as well. Was really cool to see. Apparently they ran out of food at one point, and just because so many people arrived, like, it was but it looks like they plan on hosting more LANs in the future. So hey, if you happen to be local to the scene, if you happen to be in San Francisco, then do consider reaching out, do consider joining the Discord server, and consider being a part of that community. Again, not as international as some of the other things that we do cover, but regardless, it's good to kind of give a shout out to. And again, if you happen to be local, check it out. Do check it out. Do be a part of it. You can cannon rush Ravi. God damn it. God damn it. Yeah. As that leads us into our main events here, our main events that did occur throughout the course of the week. The first thing, of course, is the big event happening in Iceland. If you recall, last week we went over an interview they had with one of the older historic Icelandic players in StarCraft, kind of promoting the events and going through their history, competing in StarCraft back in 2012, and also switching to Hearthstone as well. So it was really cool to hear from one of the older players like that, and the LAN did occur. Again, I believe it was celebrating the anniversary of StarCraft, and it kind of came out of nowhere for us, at least. You know, it's a region, a part of the world where, at least nowadays, there aren't really that many notable players, I would say, from Iceland that are competing in StarCraft at a high level. So yeah, it kind of came out of left field. I was hopeful that they would get plenty of sign-ups and plenty of people competing and taking part, and they did. Like, yo, shout out to shout out to those working on the event, papi. Yeah. But a bunch of photos were released, and of course we did have photos taken of the champions as well. They had their own trophies. Looks like they were competing and they were hosting LAN events for both StarCraft Remastered, for Brood War, and for StarCraft 2 as well. So we do have our two champions, you know, claiming their titles and claiming their championships here in Iceland. And again, like, I hope that it was successful for them, and I hope that we get to see more events like this in the future. Like, again, it's a part of the world and part of the region that we don't really often get to see. So seeing something like this, it feels good, man. It's really cool, and we'd always champion something like this. I mean, again, this is similar to the San Francisco LAN as well, where, like, you know, you have this part of the world where they host an event like this. They bring all these people together just to enjoy StarCraft in their own way, and yeah, it's really cool to see. Really cool to see. And yeah, maybe hope to see more events like this in the future. More in the future, Pat. Also, a shout out to Steamy for winning the remastered event. And shout out to Doddy for winning the StarCraft 2 event. Oh, let's go. Let's go. That leads us into RSL. The RSL Season 4 group stage did continue this week. I say continue, did conclude this week. Okay. So previously we had already gone through Group A and Group C, and now we can catch up on Group D and B. So from the top, we had Group B. Oh, whoa. Again, unfortunately, I didn't get to watch any of these games as we're usually casting at the same time, as there's just a lot of StarCraft going on. I was certain that it was going to be Clem and Maxax making it out of Group B. What the hell happened, Babby? Ay. So Clem, he went down to Bunny. I mean, Bunny is a terrifying TUP player, for sure. Like, we've seen him take down many a top Protoss. But Clem, he goes down to Bunny in the initial series, 2-1. Bunny then went down to Rogue. Rogue beat Mac. Yo, Rogue popping off in this event. Oh my god. Rogue, if you recall, like, when it comes to Rogue's play over the past year, 2 years, it has been very kind of middle of the road. He's had a couple of really strong moments like Star Zagora, where he showcased like the mass overseer style against Clem. There have been a couple of moments here and there, but for the most part, he has been more in the middle of the pack when it comes to top Zerg players. So this is a very surprising result here, and probably his most standout performance in a long time, to take down both Maxfax and Bunny in their respective series. So very impressive play there. Again, I didn't get to see the games. I would imagine aggression more than anything. That's typically what Rogue has been enjoying a lot more in recent times. But really cool to see. Then Maxfax, he 2-0'd Clem to eliminate him from the tournament, and Maxfax took down Bunny 2-1 as well. So Clem, he's out in last place, and both Rogue and Maxfax make it through in first and second. Very impressive. GG, well played. We then had Group D. Coming into this group, I was leaning more towards, the double Terran, Maru and Beyond. So this is a lot more of what we expected here. Shin takes down Beyond 2-0. Maru takes down Christiana, and Maru takes down Shin 2-1 to go all the way to the ace match. Shout out to Shin for taking a map off of Maru. And Maru did advance on in first place. So then had Beyond taking down Christiana and getting his revenge over Shin, with Maru and Beyond making it through the group stage. So GG, well played. Again, this is kind of more of what we expected. It's just Group B, which had the big upset instead. Likewise, I mean, referring to upsets, we also did mention that in Group A, Raynor got knocked out, and in Group C, Classic also got knocked out as well. So we have a very surprising top 8. We have our top 8. We have our playoffs here for the RSL. We have Maru versus Zan. Like, why do they keep playing? Oh god, they just keep facing off, Pappy. I feel so bad for Zan. Zan looked impressive during GSL, by the way. We'll get there, but they also played in that series, in that event. But Maru, he's up against Zan in the first round. We have Kira versus Beyond. Ooh, that's a little bit unfortunate for Beyond. We have a TVT. Then we have our PvP with Hero versus Max, and Rogue versus Trigger in the bottom part of the upper bracket finals, upper bracket quarterfinals. Interesting lineups here, interesting setups. When it comes to our lineups here, I mean, when it comes to predictions, I should say, I do think that this is an unfortunate match for Beyond. Beyond, historically, his TVT isn't amazing. It's very hit and miss, very hit and miss. So I do lean towards Cure in that series. Likewise, of course, I lean towards Maru. So I can see Maru and Cure facing off in the TVT. Honestly, that can go either way. Like, I can see Cure bringing down Maru in a turn versus... I mean, I say I can see it. We've seen it. That's true. That is the reason why I'm like, I lean towards Cure versus Maru. Cure did already beat Maru at EWC, Esports World Cup. They did play, and Cure did bring him down. Cure was the favorite player then, and I would still lean towards Cure here as well. So we'll see if Cure can repeat his EWC success against Maru, or if Maru can get his revenge. But again, I do lean towards Cure making it through to the upper bracket finals. Scrolling down, we have Hero, Max, Rogue, and Trigger. In my opinion, I feel like whoever wins between Hero and Maxfax make it to the upper bracket finals. Like that's Rogue looked very impressive in the group stage, but I didn't get to see those games, so I don't really know how to attribute that success. So looking at them, I do lean towards Hero and Maxfax. That PvP can go either way. That's why I do mention that whoever wins that series, I feel like should make it towards the upper bracket finals, into those TVPs. A little bit unfortunate that there's only one Zerg, but I mean, it could be worse, could be 0. So, so I'm glad there's at least one Zerg representative in this portion of the events in the playoffs. We get a little bit of diversity, Pappy, a little bit. But best of luck. And again, the playoffs, they begin in a couple of days. They begin this weekend. And we should be co-streaming. We should be co-streaming the playoffs over on this channel. Oh boy. And I think like last time, I think they've scheduled for 2 series a day? Question mark? Yes. Yeah, I'm still not fond of this schedule, but I thought you said that they were going to try to adjust this, but yeah, it's 2 best of 5s per day.
Yeah, you know what's the best? You know how there's this weekend where they have 3 days? From what I understand, day 2 is a single match.
No shot.
From what I've
Ay,
seen
ay,
on the
ay.
graphic, I think it's a single match. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's how I understood it.
SMH my head. Yeah, I think there is a day with only one series. Hi, hi. So yeah, that's in regards to RSL, that's probably one of my biggest. I mean, there's a lot to critique when it comes to the Revival StarCraft League, but one of my biggest criticisms is their casting schedule. It's a little bit weird. There's some casting days where they, as you saw, they have one series of casting day or two series of casting day. It's very short. It leads to very very short broadcasting days, which I don't think is a good thing. Like, I mean, I say that it feels like they're stretching it out as much as they can. Um, so they have more broadcasting days, but again, they're going to be like 2 hours long. Like, it's like a best of five on average is around an hour. So and I mean, this has been the case when it comes to the previous seasons where they've just had really really short broadcasting days, um, which is really weird. Um, so yeah, I think, and one of my other criticisms of RSL, of course, and we'll see if they change that, is you can have like these like you can have less series, but there are ways to kind of like pad out a broadcast with things that aren't necessarily, you know, a negative thing, right? Like with interviews, with bringing guest casters on as well and having these discussions. I guess I'm kind of going over old ground here, but one of the biggest assets that they have with RSL is they have a studio. And what better way to make use of that studio than use it with local talent? They're in Korea. Everyone's in Korea, regarding to the majority of these players, right? The players, the casters, the talent, other personality figures as well, right? If you have an offline studio, then make use of it by bringing people on and having them on to discuss the games, to have a like an impromptu like quote unquote podcast. I know that they do their like RSL After Dark sort of thing for patrons. I know that that's a thing, but like you can help actually like bolster the show itself by bringing people on and even just bring on Maddox with like a Korean and just to have them like just translate if you want, or have Solar on, he speaks English, or Solar's not even a part of the top 8, so like he's not doing it. Like I'm sure he's free one of these casting days. Bring on Crank, he speaks English as well. Bring on Ryang, bring on whoever. But make use of the fact that you have all these players in the area, right? They're all nearby, so take advantage of that. Is what I want out of RSL, and we wanted it for 3 seasons, and you know, one day they'll make use of that studio. Like one day, baby, one day. Aye. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But otherwise, again, the playoffs do begin this weekend. Speaking of the Korean scene, speaking of Korean StarCraft, we do have the GSL CK. GSL CK number 2. Again, for those who are unaware, the GSL did return with the GSL Champions Korea. It is a kind of a fun invitational team league event. We did cast it ourselves over on Soup last week. That was the first edition, and this week we had the second edition as well. Again, it's been live casted over on Soup, and we did have the rebroadcast over on Twitch and YouTube, so VODs are available if you wish. In week 1, it was Team Hero versus Team Maru. Here in week 2, we had Team Solar versus Team Classic. Let's go, baby, let's go. For those that are curious how this format works, basically team captains are assigned. So this week we had Solar and Classic, and we do have a big draft. There's a big draft taking place, a snake draft. Where one player picks one player, then one captain picks one player, the other captain picks two, then two, then two, then one. Just going through all the assigned players here. So for the player pool for this event, we had Classic, Creator, Hero, SOS, Zaun, Bunny, Byun, Cure, Maru, Rogue, Shin, and Solar. This week we had an even amount of players. Feels good, man. If you remember last week, we had an odd number of players, so we had a bit of an uneven kind of player pool, and it led into a revive taking place. Basically, we have the same amount of players, or the same players themselves, except we're missing Nightmare. This week there was no Nightmare, so that's why we have an even number instead. We have that even number. When it comes to the teams themselves, Team Classic did consist of Classic. Hero was his first pick. It was Classic, Hero, Shin, SOS, Zaun, and Byun. A very Protoss heavy team with 4 Protoss players, 1 Zerg and 1 Terran. For Team Solar, his first pick was Maru. No surprise there, but it was Solar, Maru. I think it was Maru and Cure. I think those were his first 2 picks. But Solar, Maru, Cure. Bunny, Creator, and Rogue, a more Terran-heavy team. We had our two teams, Team Classic and Team Solar, and the way that the event works is that there are two series. First, you have the Pro League series, the Pro League set, then you have the All Kill set. If you are maybe a newer viewer of StarCraft, and if you weren't around during Pro League, a Pro League format, a Team League match, basically is a best of 5 or a best of 7. It's a best of series consisting of predetermined best of 1s. So the map order was predetermined, so with Game 1 being on Tourmaline, Game 2 was Mothership, Game 3 Reclamation, Game 4 Winter Madness, etc. And the team captains and the teams, they separately did decide who to field on what map. And then they gave that list of finalized players to Ryung. They gave it to Ryung, and the Ryung did reveal to everyone at the same time who was going to be playing against each other. Because of that, you can try to snipe players as well, predicting who would be sent out on what map, and there can definitely be strategy kind of being involved there. The other big thing as well is that because it's predetermined, it's all announced at the beginning of the day, the beginning of the broadcast, I should say. It means that the players that are playing later on in the evening or later on in the series, they have more time to think and more time to prepare. Typically for Pro League, you'd have like 5 days. You'd have like just under a week to prepare for your game or prepare for your opponents. Here, because it's all done, the draft is done, you know, on the day, and the maps are picked and all that stuff on the day. You have merely minutes, if not hours, or sometimes like an hour or so, depending on how long the series is, to prepare. So again, that does give an advantage somewhat to the later series, because you have more time to think about how you want to approach that game. So there is a little bit of counterplay happening there, or a little bit of like of other influence just because of the time you have. That can favor some players more than others. So here we have Team Classic versus Team Solar. The other big thing, and if you remember, I shout out to GSL, by the way, because I suggested after last week that they implement 2v2s, and they did. They did. One of the reasons is because 2v2 has been a big part of StarCraft over the past year. So many of these Korean players have been competing in 2v2 events, so it did pose the idea, and they went for it. So did appreciate it. It was a lot of fun as well. We started things off with Classic versus Bunny. Classic did win his first game. Classic, of course, the team captain himself comes out with a win over Bunny. Then we had Beyond versus Solar. Solar, team captain, also claims the win. So the captains did claim their own respective games, both Classic and Solar respectively. That led into the 2v2, Hero and Shin up against Maru and Solar. Hero and Shin, they have more experience together, and they all in the hell out of Maru and Solar, claiming their win on Reclamation. They did give the edge to Team Classic. That led into Hero versus Rogue, where Hero did look a lot more dominant. Hero versus Rogue as well, claiming his win. And then Zan versus Maru. This leads into what we mentioned about RSL, where there's going to be a rematch between these two in RSL as well. And again, not the first time that they play in recent times. Like if Zan and Maru, they also played the previous week as well. Like they just keep playing. But Zan, he popped off. Zan was looking so good on the Old Republic. He was able to keep up with all the aggression from Maru. Maru was going for non-stop drop play, non-stop harassment. Zan, he was able to acclimate to the speed of Maru, acclimate to the pace of Maru, and able to embrace that, shut him down, build up in towards the mid game, build up into a longer game state, and was able to pull Maru apart with non-stop run-bys, counter-attacks, main army control as well. Zan was looking insanely impressive against Maru and did take him down to win it all for his team, for Team Classic. So Team Classic, they did win the initial Pro League set, the Pro League match, and that led us into the all-kill formats. Now, for those unaware, all-kill formats, as the name suggests, it does, we have our starting players, so both teams, they pick their starting players, and the winner stays on. And it allows for all kills. It means if one player is popping off and one player is doing well, they can potentially even all kill the entire team. So it does allow for an ace player to shine a little bit more than the Pro League format, which is more of a team effort. Because that, personally, I enjoy the Pro League format a little bit more, but I understand the hype behind the all-kill format. Now, another change for the Pro League format, the big change that they had was they introduced 2v2s. For the all-kill format, they reduced the best of. In week 1, it was a best of 13. Here, best of 9. So they made it a little bit shorter here just because it was a very long cast for the first week. So here was the best of 9. The starting players were Hero and Cure, and Hero did take some chances. He took some risks, as he always does. This time it did not pay off. Cure did shut him down, and Cure went on a tear, by the way. Cure took down Hero, took down Zan, took down Shin as well. 3 wins under his belt. A strong showing there from Cure before eventually falling to the team captain himself, Classic. So Classic, he began the comeback. He took down Cure. He took down Creator. He did fall to Maru. I'm still thinking about that game on Tourmaline. Classic had that game won. Basically, Maru was forced into an all-in. Maru, he was crippled. He was dead in the water. But Classic, he was just a little bit too greedy. He didn't respect the game state itself. He was thinking a little bit too far ahead, despite the fact that he forced Maru into an all-in. And Maru, he barely won that out. So Maru had an impressive comeback. Then Bjorn took down Maru. Bjorn, likewise, he was able to get an early lead against Maru. A pseudo base trade where Maru was being active. He was pushing out. As he moved out, Bjorn went for his drop and he crippled Maru. He was able to kill every single worker at the natural and likewise defend back at home. So we had a chaotic TBT there between Bjorn and Maru. Bjorn did claim the win, but then Rogue was able to bring it back. Unfortunately, did not make it all the way to the ace match. It was close, but Rogue, he brought it back, took down Bjorn, and in the end, Team Solar did claim the win over Team Classic in the all-kill series. That led us into the final series, the best of one, right? Because Team Classic won Pro League, Team Solar won all-kill, so they're tied 1-1, and that leads us into a super ace match, best of one between two assigned players. Team Classic sent out Classic. Classic came out as a representative for his team. And Solar did not show up. Solar, he sent out Maru, which makes sense. Solar, he sent out Maru, and then they had their rematch best of one, where we saw that Maru was able to have a bit of a stronger showing than previously and take Classic down in the end. Congratulations to Team Solar. Team Solar do claim the win here. Again, it's winner take all, so it's a bit of a brutal format. I will say that. But regardless, congratulations to Team Solar. And again, it was just really fun to embrace this kind of format once again after so long. It's a lot of fun seeing the Pro League format, 2v2s, all kill as well. It's a great breath of fresh air. And yeah, it was great to experience this GSL. And we'll be there for future GSL CKs as well. From my understanding, there will be more. There will be more. So shout out to Soup for allowing this to happen. If you want to help support Soup and GSL, you can do so via their Patreon. The Patreon does help fund events like this and also the main season, the main league as well, which from my understanding is also around the corner. It's also on the horizon. So do not fret. I know there were a bunch of people that were like, oh, is this all we have? Oh, is this what GSL has been like reduced to? Do we only get like the GSL CK? It's like, no, not at all. No, not at all. From my understanding, there will be more GSL to come. Plenty more GSL. So again, you can support through Patreon. That leads us into the Wardy TV Team League. The Wardy TV Team League Season 10, which is the first season in many, many years. So the return of the Team League here. Here we have a bunch of custom teams, and we only got to see like one series last time, right? I think only Basilisk and Stouty Bulls, or did we see more? Yeah, I think it was just the one. So we have plenty of updates, plenty of matches that have been held. So very quickly here in Group A, we have the matches that occurred on March the 14th. We had no Ace Jin Air, which is Jin Air without Maru. And they played this series with the Platinum Heroes. Very strong showing here. Oh my god. We had SOS taking down Art 1-0. We had Creator taking down Fiant. We had Creator and SOS in the 2v2 format taking down Art and Fiant. We had Creator taking down Fiant. Rogue took down Iba, and Rogue and SOS took down Fiant and Lelix. I forgot this about the format. But regardless of scores, for the Wardy TV Team League, they play all games. Regardless of any score, they play all of their matches. This does help when it comes to replay casting. I believe a lot of these are replay casts, so they have their matches played ahead of time, then they get submitted, so they're able to just organize that all the matches get played, and then they can kind of get through them all instead. So a strong showing here from New Ace Jin Air. Even without their ace player, they're still a force to be reckoned with, for sure. That leads us into Stouty Bulls versus Platinum Heroes. Here we had G Machine over Lelix. Shameless takes down Art as well against Stouty Bulls, are one of the other favorite teams here. Very strong team, very strong lineup. Shameless and Yang Yakov, they take down Iba and Lelix in the 2v2 on Undercurrent. We had Yang Yakov over Art. Fiant does fight back. The only player to put one on the board here takes down Nickrat in the best of one. And then Nickrat and Shameless take down Fiant and Lelix in the best of, or in the 2v2. In the 2v2. So GG will play. Shout out to Fiant for winning that one game, but only the one game here as Stouty Bulls do claim the win. Following that, looks like we had some forfeits. I don't know if Exertus Esports have completely forfeited their participation in the event, or if it's only they were unavailable this week. Hard to say, but they did forfeit versus No Ace Jin Air, and they also forfeited against Stouty Bulls as well. So that is a big shame. They even had their matches lined up. Yeah, it says Exertus Esports didn't show. That's kind of weird. It's kind of odd. We had Eggs, Special, and Cham. They had like submitted their lineups. There was meant to be Eggs versus Creator, Cham versus SOS, Eggs and Special versus Creator and SOS. Like the matches have been assigned, but they just did not show up for the games. So a little bit weird. Hopefully they're able to play their matches later on. Hopefully.
I would say it is a little weird for like the entire team to just completely miss it. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Often you get like a couple of matches played here and there. I would assume that like they just didn't. They were given like a week or some time to organize their matches with their opponent. They just didn't. So yeah, a little bit odd. But hopefully that changes in the future. Next we had not CJ Entis. CJ. So we had XCJ versus Stouty Bulls as well. A bit of a much closer back and forth here, actually. Okay. Bunny took down Young Yakov 1-0. Hero took down Shameless 1-0 so far, to be expected results. Then we had Nick Rat and Young Yakov coming out on top of the 2v2. Let's go. They fight back in the 2v2. Shin took down Young Yakov 1-0. Then we had the comeback. GG Machine takes down Bunny. Big win for the Machine, papi. Ay. So very impressive play there by GG Machine. And then we had GG Machine and Shameless, who they are one of the best 2v2 teams in the world, by the way. Straight up. They're one of the best. They take down Hero and Shin 1-0 as well. Went all the way to the ace match. PvP between Hero and Shameless. And Hero does barely win that out over Shameless 1-0. Went all the way to the ace match. So very impressive showing here by Stouty Bulls, showing the importance of 2v2, right? If you're good in 2v2, that can help carry you all the way to an ace match. As they won both of their 2v2 matches, but also a big shout to GG Machine for winning his 1v1 match as well. Big shout to GG Machine. Oh, interesting. It says here that Stouty Bulls wanted to choose Nick Rat as their ace player, but internet issues prevented this from happening. I was going to say that specifically against a Hero, I would favor Nick Rat. Nick Rat has been Hero before. Like, he's got some nasty TVP 1 and 2 base all-ins. So very nasty all-ins. So I would have favored Nick Rat more than any other player against Hero, but looks like they weren't able to pick him. So that is a shame. There's a world where they win, by the way. There's a world where Nick Rat beats Hero and they just win that game. They win that series. There's a world where that could happen. But GG well played. So again, those are the final games played here in Group A. There's going to be more matches played in an hour's time. So more matches on the horizon. Likewise, when it comes to the group overall itself, so far we have Team Liquid, who have yet to play any of their games. They should be playing later on this evening, though. There should be some TL games. Likewise, we do have X-Jinair, No Ace Jinair, they're in first place. Stouty Bulls in second. Basilisk in third, tied with not CJ Entis. Meanwhile, Group B. Heading on over to Group B, I believe it looks like this is currently underway? Question mark, I think. Or not finished? Oh, no, yeah, it's unfinished. Okay. So we have Polish Power versus Onside. Interesting. Went the distance, actually, of almost the distance. Yet to be determined. Interesting that it looks like they agreed to reschedule. It says here that Spirits games are played on a later date. So they agreed to reschedule Spirits games, but I guess because Exertus, the players were nowhere to be found, they couldn't agree to reschedule their matches. It's a bit of a shame. But we had Zaun. Zaun took down Geralt 1-0. A Laser took down Christianer. I was a little bit confused. I was like, Polish on Polish? Oh, no, yeah, Christianer is on one side. Yeah, true. So Laser takes down Christianer. We have a Laser and Geralt taking down Christianer and Ryung in the 2v2. Very impressive. Then we have Spirit versus Ryung, which will be played at a later date. And we have Mara versus Geralt, where Mara does win 1-0 over Geralt. We then have the 2v2 of Mara and Zaun versus Geralt and Spirit. But again, looks like that's going to be rescheduled for a later date. So far, undecided as when it comes to who will win this series. We lean towards Onside here, but I mean, anything can happen, especially with the 2v2 involved. Anything can happen. That leads us into Shopify versus Onside. We had Maru taking down Beyond 1-0. He got his revenge. Harsum took down Christiana 1-0. Once again, Christiana and Ryung struggling. Oh, no, sorry. They win in the 2v2. They beat Beyond and Lambo. That's pretty big, to be honest. Like, Beyond and Lambo, they're not a bad 2v2 team. So, very impressive play there by Christiana and Ryung. I would say that Harambo, a stronger 2v2 team. Lambo takes down Zaun in the best of one. Impressive. Lambo takes down Zaun 1-0. Beyond takes down Ryung 1-0 in the TVT. Also very impressive. Funnily enough, Maru and Zaun, they actually beat Harambo in the 2v2. That's interesting. Yeah, we expected a lot out of Hearthstone and Lambo. And then in the ace match, we had Lambo versus Zaun, not Maru. Interesting ace match there. But Lambo takes down twice. Takes him down on Mothership and takes him down on White Rabbit as well. Big win there for Lambo. Big win. Congratulations to Shopify. That led us into Voe SE2. That is... Oh, Villains of SE2. That's it. That's Villains of SE2 versus Polish Power. We had Max Pack taking down a Laser 1-0. Once again, looks like Spirits is rescheduling his matches. Interesting. But Max Pack versus Spirit played at a later date. Max Pack Solo versus Geralt and Spirit also played at a later date as well. I guess something's happening with Spirit that he's unavailable for all these matches. Solo takes down Geralt 1-0. A Laser takes down Percival 1-0. Big win there for a Laser. And then we had Max Pack and Percival taking down a Laser and Geralt in the 2v2. And again, we still have some more matches to take place to determine how this series concludes. But I believe even if Spirit wins both of his matches, it's still going to be in favor of Villains of... Oh, no, they can go all the way to the ace match. True. Can go to the ace match. Then have Shopify versus Villains of SC2. We had Beyond taking down Percival. Beyond took down Solar. Wait, what? Beyond took down Solar. Do we have revives here? Am I crazy? Did I just miss that? I guess I did. Okay. we do. So Beyond takes down Percival, Beyond takes on Solar. Max Pack and Solar take down Hearthstone and Lambert. Once again, Hearthstone and Lambert struggling in the 2v2s. Max Pack took down Scarlet. Lambert took down... Lambert once again, look at his ZVP. Lambert to take down Zaun earlier, to take down Max Pack here as well. Very impressive here in the ZVP matchup. I'm assuming these are all-ins, by the way. I'm assuming he's just all-in the hell out of these players, and it's working quite well. Lambert and Scarlet, they take down Max Pack and Percival in the ZVZ 2v2. Okay. That's crazy. GG, well played. Shopify, they take down the Villains of StarCraft. Very well done. Well played here to Shopify. Doing well here initially in the group stage. That had Bunkers versus... that one-man army? What is that? Old War Machines. Okay. okay. We had Bonkers versus Old War Machines. Also went to the ace match. Jimmy took down Bonan. Art took down Arcfire. I forgot Arcfire had joined their team. True. We had Art and Minizerg over Baby Marine and Jimmy. We had Art over Baby Marine over Minizerg. So we did have a bit of a back and forth here. Arcfire and Baby Marine over Bonan and Inexorable. And then in the end, Arcfire takes down Minizerg 1-0. GG, well played. It's kind of weird that Old War Machines has Minizerg in it because he's a very young player. It's but sure.
He was born old.
True. He might be mini, but he's old. Feels bad, man. But congratulations to Bunkers. That leads into, what is TTM? The Three Musketeers. Okay. I see the Three Musketeers. Sorry, Musketeers. Right. That's like a... Oh, that's Musti.
Yeah, I was gonna say, right? I would like to know the lore behind this, because it's clearly a reference to Musti, but...
It's a reference to Musti. I would imagine, because it's a reference to Musti and because he's German, or he's living in Germany, I think that Gabe and Showtime came up with the name, and Classic just went along with it. He's like, who's Musti? He's like, what? Who? He's like, sure, I guess. Why not? Okay, let's go.
That's also a good question. How did Classic end up on that team in the first place?
I would imagine Showtime reached out to him. He's like, yo, we need a third. Classic, you know a bit of German, right? And he's like, yes. He's like, let's go.
He's like, yeah.
Der Dutch Gott. Let's go. That's a classic honorary German, repping Musti. We had Art taking down Showtime 1-0. That's a big win for Art, by the way. Damn, big win. Classic takes down Bonan, survives the Cannon Rush. We had Classic and Big Gabe taking down Art and Minizerg in the 2v2. Gabe took down Inexorable, and we are missing a game. Classic and Art didn't play. And Gabe and Showtime takes down Bonan and Inexorable. GG. So yeah, looks like they're missing a game here, but I guess they're okay not playing it. I guess. Not sure. I guess. But just a random game wasn't played. Up next is again, when I think Three Musketeers, I keep opening it up and expecting to see like some French players. Not gonna lie, like God damn it. We have Showtime. Showtime takes on Lambo 1-0. Lambo, his ZVP win streak comes to an end here against Showtime. Beyond took down Big Gabe 1-0 himself. We had Gabe and Showtime taking down once again Harambo. This struggle. What's going on? What's happening in Paradise between Harambo and Lambo? Like their chemistry. It's not there. It's not there. We need like a couples counseling session or something. Like, what's they've lost every single one of their 2v2s. Then had Beyond taking down Classic. Big win there for Beyond. Classic took down Harsum, and then Classic and Gabe took down Beyond and Harsum in the end. The three Musketeers do win over Shopify. GG, well played. The final set of matches here, we have Onside versus Old War Machines. We had Art. Look at Art go in PvP. He took down, who was it earlier? Art, he took down Showtime in his previous series, and here he takes on Zaun. Esther, Art, calm down. Cristiano takes down Inexorable in his series. We have Cristiano and Ryung taking down Art and Minizerg. We have Ryung over Art, Maru over Bonan, and Maru and Zaun over Bonan and Inexorable. GG, well played. Again, Art is carrying his team. Like, they do lose their matches in the end, but he's been putting a little work. Speak again. Look at him go. Art takes down Percival. Art, he's won like every game. Like every single game he's played. He's crazy. Look at him go. So Art takes on Percival, Maxpax takes on Bonan in his own series. We have Art and Minizerg over Maxpax and Solo. That's a big win, by the way, for the Art and Minizerg duo. Very nicely done. Solar takes on Inexorable, Maxpax takes on Art, and Maxpax and Percival take down Bonan and Inexorable. Finally, Art loses the game, by the way. Maxpax takes him down. Crazy. GG, well played. Villains of StarCraft, they do claim the series. And then they had one more match against Onside, which also went their way, actually. Percival takes down Cristiano. Maxpax takes down Maru in the best of one on Celestial. Max and Solar, they do win their own series versus Ryung and Zaun. Maxpax takes down Ryung once again. Zaun takes on Solar. Maru and Zaun, they fight back in the 2v2. But in the end, Villains of StarCraft come out on top over Onside. Big win here for the Villains. GG. GG, well played. And we have more matches taking place later on tonight. It's going to be Group A matches, and hopefully we get to see the debut of Exertus. Hopefully. We'll see. Fingers crossed, as I believe Team Liquid are also playing for the first time later on this evening as well. So again, it's really cool to see this more Team League games basically being taking place as well. I wish the best to Wardy. I know it's quite difficult organizing all these matches and all these players, especially when you have teams that aren't showing up, or Spirit who's MIA, or all these other things complications that do occur from time to time. So wish them the best when it comes to the organization of the event, and likewise wish all the teams the best as well when it comes to their upcoming matches. When it comes to Group B, it does end with the Three Musketeers undefeated in first place. We have Villains of SC2 in second, Shopify in third. So again, the teams are slowly coming together. I would say that Onside so far has been struggling more than we expect, but at the same time, yeah, they have been struggling here for sure. We've yet to see Polish Power wrap up any of their games because Spirit's been MIA. Hopefully Spirit shows up so we can finish up some of those matches. And Old War Machines has been doing surprisingly well. Like, they haven't won any series, but Art's been popping off. That's what stood out to me, at least. But best of luck. Best of luck to all the teams and players involved. That leads us into our modded tournaments for the week, StarCraft Evolution. Now, initially, we did hold off on covering SC Evo just because we were going to be casting these games ourselves, and we did attempt to cast, but unfortunately, a patch went live. It was like a patch of a patch, or like an intro patch went live for StarCraft Evolution, and it broke a bunch of replays. So we were unable to cast SC Evo number 18. So let's catch up. Let's catch up what happened here. Again, for those that are curious, StarCraft Evolution is a mod that does pit together Brood War versus SC2. Right? Brood War has been ported and balanced and changed and adapted and adjusted to be more balanced versus SC2. My favorite part of this kind of event are the maps. There's a lot of old Brood War maps that got ported over into StarCraft 2 to compete in these tournaments as well. So honestly, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, and it's a shame that I wasn't able to cast any of this, or most of it, I should say. For those who are curious, specifically what was broken was maps hosted on games hosted on Brood War maps on the Korean server specifically. And as you can see here, semifinals onwards was all on Korea. So, so a good half of the games were just unviewable, unfortunately. So a bit of a feels bad, man. I think what happened was maybe the maps were removed or updated on Korea, so because of that, like, the replays on those maps were not working. Something of that nature occurred. But we had Solar. Solar took down Zardian 2-1, took down Creator 3-0. Big win there for Solar, advancing on to the grand finals. Likewise, Rebellion took down Classic. I did see that result. I wanted to see those games, but big upset there. Rebellion taking down Classic 2-1, and did fall to Beyond. Then we had our best of 5 finals, Solar over Beyond in those finals. GG. GG well played. Solar does claim the win over Beyond, 3-0. That leads us into the SC Evo League number 19. Again, this is, I believe, is happening on a bi-weekly basis, every 2 weeks, every fortnight. We have more of the same players. This time, no Solar. Solar, he does not reprise his role here, but we still have Creator, Classic, and Beyond. Creator took down Prome 2-1, Rake 2-1. Creator, he stumbled his way to the finals, taking down Classic 3-2 as well. A lot of ace matches. A lot of ace matches, but a big win here. Personally, I do consider Classic to be the best player, the best Protoss player in StarCraft Evolution, but that might be changing. With Creator and Solar stepping into the ring here, Classic has been having a harder time, and Classic is denied those finals. Likewise, Bjorn doesn't drop a single game. Bjorn, he 2-0s IELTS, he 2-0s Middle VK, he 3-0s Death Mars, and he 3-0s Creator. Strong showing here by Bjorn. I'm curious if the 3-rack stim timing is still a thing, because Bjorn was very fond of that previously, and it had a very high win rate, and I'm curious if that continues here, or if he's been embracing a different kind of build. Again, I'd love to know, just, you know, the replays are broken, so, so we weren't able to find out. But GG well played there. Bjorn does go undefeated and does come out on top in SC Evo 19. GG. GG well played. And again, hopefully we should be able to cast more StarCraft Evolution in the future, once, you know, the patch hits and then all the replays are fixed, or I should say once everything is stable. Hopefully we can get back into it. That leads us into the patches patch clash number 6. That leads us into a tournament here featuring the patch mod. This is a unique balance mod as well. Very, very unique. Has a lot of changes, a lot of upgrades. It is very, very different. And likewise, even featured a bunch of upcoming TLMC maps as well. Really cool to see. In the end, we had a lot of our regulars here. We had a lot of Polish players, actually. We had Geralt, we had Art, Christiana, Shameless, Fiat, Sylvester. Solid lineup of players here. In the end, Geralt, he takes down Art 2-0, takes down Christiana 2-0, and does face off against Christiana again in the rematch in the finals, where Christiana, he does win in the rematch 3-2 over Geralt. GG well played. Very PvP heavy. Very, very PvP heavy here when it comes to this event. Congratulations to Christiana. Congratulations. Comes out on top over Geralt. That leads us into the Green Earth's mod gem open number 2. No, it's totally not confusing, but Green Earth has his own mod. Different to Patches' mod, by the way. So there's a lot of mods out there, a lot of balance mods, I should say. So Green Earth has his own mod, has his own changes. I'll be honest, I haven't looked too in detail as, when it comes to Green Earth's mod. I do know that it's a little bit more specialized. It's a little bit more, so I want to say serious. It's less experimental and more a little bit more actually intended to kind of like refine and balance certain things, and it's a different approach, I should say. It's a little bit of a different approach. I would say that Patches' mod is a little bit more exploratory and a little bit more bold. Green Earth's is a little bit more scaled back in comparison. But very different. Very, very different. Here we did have Mixu. Mixu, he popped off. He took down General Kenobi. He took down Bonyo, took down Mini Zerg 2-0, and took down Hacker's Top in the grand finals. Big win here for Mixu. Very well done. Oh, we got a Zerg champion. Let's go. GG, well played. I mean, the player pool here was a little bit smaller. True. Was a little bit smaller, but regardless, congratulations to Mixu nonetheless. Congratulations. As that leads us into our amateur events. Our amateur events here for the week. Up first is the Amateur League Weekly Tournament number 153. This is a weekly tournament for amateur players. Again, it is kind of split up between different leagues, between different MMR ranges. We have initially the Initiate Series for Bronze to Platinum. So players between the leagues of Bronze and Platinum, they face off. And here we have a new player that I haven't seen before, Eru Learns. Okay, Eru Learns, the Protoss player, takes down Dollar Tree Dipper 2-1, takes down Jackals 2-0, and takes down Jackals 3-1 in the finals. GG well played here to Eru Learns. GG. That leads us into the Veteran Edition. This is for Diamond 3 and Diamond 2 players. Here we have some regulars. I do notice Balimko, Sugarcoat II, Revo as well, DJ Eber Cruiser. Again, a lot of players we do recognize here, and this time we have Balimko. Balimko takes down Sugarcoat 2-1, takes down Revo 2-0, and takes down Sugarcoat 3-1 in the grand finals. GG well played here to Balimko Very well done. That leads us into the Prestige event for Diamond 1 to Masters 2. This is usually a little more populated. A little bit surprising to see underpopulated event here. I don't think we've seen the bracket this small before. Like for Diamond 1 to Masters 2, that's crazy. Only 5 players. So lower amount of signups. We have some regulars. We see Boreal, we see Steez, Beast, Ophthalmologist, Matrix as well. In the end, Steez takes down Beast 2-0 and takes down Beast 3-0 in the finals. GG, well played. But again, just a little bit surprising to see the few amount of participants this week. That leads us into the Elite Edition. Once again, no show. Dead Remus does get the walkover win. It's very common to see walkover wins here for M1 to GM. Most M1 to GM players, they just play in actual events, right? They play in pro tournaments that have bigger prize pools that are open in signups as well. There's a little bit less interest in these kind of events. But apparently this is the last. This was the last week of the season. Oh, there you go. Last week of the season. As that leads us into our amateur event, into Masters 1 Open number 101. That's a lot of MSOs here. Again, this is very similar to the previous one. This is for those that are below 4.7k MMR. So that's around M2 and below. Here we had the Beast. The Beast takes down Zigger 2-0. We just saw Beast come second place in the previous amateur event. Here he takes down Blue Knight 2-0 and takes down Jinxi 3-0 in the finals. GG, well played. Strong showing here at a Beast. As it doesn't drop a single game. Meanwhile, shout out to Jinxi because he's a newer player. I think this might have been his first time playing. Maybe Kerr has better stats on that, but I believe that's the first time he was
like
competing.
First or maybe second, but like he's like
second,
very new.
But we have been seeing a big uptick in Ukrainian players. I don't know if you noticed, but in SDO and MSO, we've been seeing more of Alfir, Nakanuka, of course, Jinxi, and I want to say a couple of others as well. But of course, Herbert Berber, he was always around. But yeah, we have seen an uptick. It's cool to see. And again, Jinxi does make it to the finals, but does fall. How would you pronounce that? Jinxi or Jinxi? Jinxi.
We were struggling so much saying such a simple name. But I think we settled on Jinxi.
Jinxi. Jinxi or Jinxi? Oh, no.
It was a struggle, okay?
It's
so simple.
Jean.
Yeah.
Jean. Jean Grey. That's good. I'm cool with that. So again, congratulations to Beast. Again, this is a monthly tournament that we do host on a regular basis, but again, just once a month here. So this was the March edition. Congratulations to Beast. That leads us into the Little Mac League. Oh, okay. The non-confusing name event. Totally. Let's go. Hold on. So we have Little Mac League, Little Mac StarCraft 2 League Season 14. This is the amateur event. This is the restricted event. Not to be confused with the Master League, because you'd think that the Master League was for Masters players, but no, it's the regular league that's for Master players. The Master League that's for GM players. Yes. But the group stage did conclude. I believe we already wrapped up with group stage 1, but here group stage 2 has concluded as well. In group A, we had Digidwarf and Set advancing on over Fireclaw and Zigger. Very impressive. Again, Digidwarf and Set, they're both regulars when it comes to our amateur MSO events. They're like upper echelons of Masters 2, so they were the favorite players coming into that. We had Kaiboy and Mac taking down Frogos and Defiance. In group B, we had Beast. Hey, that's the same Beast that won our MSO. We have Beast and Neo taking down Steez and Boreal. Impressive. I was leaning towards Steez. Steez did recently beat Beast, so for him to get knocked out here was a bit of a surprise. And we have Chocolate and Havertz advancing on over Medic Jr. and Violin. With that, we have our playoffs. It's going to be Digidwarf versus Havertz, Beast versus Mac, Kaiboy versus Neo, and Chocolate versus Set. Now again, I haven't seen Chocolate play in years. It's unironically, it's been years since I've seen Chocolate play, so I don't really know what kind of level he's at. I don't really know how to judge Chocolate here, so it's a harder one to call. My predictions are Beast I can see Beast and Dizzy facing off in the semis. I lean towards Beast, and I probably lean towards Beast winning the entire event. I don't really know who to favor when it comes to the lower half of the bracket. I think maybe Set. Like, I know that Set does well, but again, as I mentioned, I don't know what level of play Chocolate is at the moment. I haven't seen him play in a long time, since like 2020 or something. It's been years. So yeah, I'm curious to see how they all compare to each other, and who can bring Beast down, and Dwarf as well. We'll see. GG well played. Best of luck to all the competitors, as the playoffs will take place over the next couple of weeks, if not next couple of months. You know, the end date is the December 31st, so I'm sure we'll figure it out one day. GG. GG well played. Best of luck to all the competitors. Up next, we have the Little Mac Master League Season 11. This is for those that are 5.4k and below. That is basically like mid to low GM and below. So we actually have some notable players here. We have Inexorable, we have Azura, we have Nihed, we have Angry, we have Gref, Kamikaze, Ryojin, and many others. When it comes to the group stage 2, we had Angry and Kamikaze over Mado and Dizzy. You can see some double dipping here as Dizzy is playing in both events, but he is knocked out in the group stage. We had Magnath and Akedon over Falango and Nisho. Impressive. I think it was leaning towards Falanger there over some of these players, so very impressive. And it looks like Akedon is off racing. I believe Akedon is a main race Protoss, but he's off racing as Zerg to be able to compete. We then have Azura and Inexorable over Gref and Doomrats. More to be expected there. We have Edicor and Ryojin over Nihed and Gypsy Danger. With that, we have our top 8 players: Angry versus Ryojin, Azura versus Akedon, Magnath versus Inexorable, and Anticor versus Kamikaze. Okay, I think, in my mind, when it comes to the lower portion of the bracket, I lean towards Anticor. Anticor, in my mind, has been looking much more impressive as of late over the Brazilian Terrans and over Magnath. That's my pick to make it to the finals. For the upper portion, if Akedon was playing Protoss, I might lean towards Akedon, but with him off racing, I'm going to lean towards Azura. I'm feeling like Azura to make it through over Akedon, to make it through over Ryojin and Angry. I can see like an Azura Antigor finals, and I don't know who to favor there. I don't know who to favor. I don't get to cast enough of Antigor to know how he plays and to get a feel who's favored, but those are the two that pique my interest, that have my attention in this bracket. But best of luck. Best of luck to all the other players involved, as I'm sure the next time we cover this event, we'll have our champion. GG. GG, well played. Best of luck to all the players. That leads us into the Thermal 2v2 Circuit Bonus Cup number 5. Again, the Thermal Circuit is soon coming to an end. I believe it will be wrapping up in May, so we still got a couple of months ahead of us here, and plenty of bonus cups intermixed as well. This time there was no crazy no crazy format. There was no double elimination either, so just a single in brackets with all of our players here. We mentioned before that a lot of the Koreans have been stepping into 2v2s, and you can see them here. We have Beyond and Solar as a duo, alongside Young Yakov and Percival as well. Coming into this event, typically we look at like the Max duo, we look at the Clem Trigger duo as well. There's a lot of very strong competitors here, but from the top we do have Solar and Beyond. They do make it through Ultramarine and Tiger. They make it through Milky Cow and Goblin. No, they hurt me. It does fall here. Euthermal and Showtime. What I do appreciate, if you notice, is that Euthermal, he often does have a new partner every week. Like, he often, like, obviously his one and only partner is Goblin. Obviously, true. But, you know, every now and then he does mix things up. And, you know, I think it was the previous event where he played with several, plays with Showtime, you know, does find a new partner here to kind of pair up with and to play with. A big reason for that is just because of the format of the main event. The format does force you to play with other people, so it forces you to like spread your wings and be able to adapt with a different kind of partner, a different race partner as well. So it's good to kind of get that experience. So it kind of incentivizes a lot of these pairings to mix it up, and that's why we often do see different pairings from week to week to week. But Euthermal and Showtime, they take down Solar and Beyond in the semis. Very impressive, making it all the way to the finals. Meanwhile, we have Trigger and Cyril, an interesting pairing as well. Usually it's Trigger and Clem, and Cyril and Zhuge Liang. But no, they do pair up here for the first time, and they make it all the way to the finals. They take down Rex and Shinobu. They take down G-Machine and Shameless. They take down Minizorg and Sickness. Very strong 2v2 pairings here, got taken out, and then they do win in the finals here, 3-1 over Euthermal and Showtime. GG well played. Very impressive play here by Cyril and Trigger. Very impressive. Their first time winning as a team, as a duo. Their first time. So So congratulations, and I hope to see more of these pairings in the future, and we do expect them to mix things up again, right? It's always beneficial to start practicing with some of the other top players, understanding that, of course, you're going to be working with them later on in the season. As later on we have, up next we have the Nation League Season 7. Do we have our champions? Oh, we do. We have our champions. Let's go, baby. Let's go. We have the grand finals taking place. It was Ukraine versus Sweden, and Ukraine, they come out on top. We have Ilya over System 2-0. We had Seta next tying up 1-1. We had Endro and Cos tied 1-1 as well. It was that first 2-0 that does clutch the win for Ukraine. So GG well played, Ukraine. They are our Nation League champion, the strongest nation in StarCraft. So congratulations here to Ukraine. For the third and fourth place match, we had Taiwan, Japan up against Hungary. Ian took down Bali 2-0. We had Cheese taking down Nisezo 2-0 himself. We have Panda and Example tied 1-1. Then we had Panda taking down Example in the ace match. GG well played. To wrap things up here, we had Ukraine in first place, Sweden in second, Taiwan, Japan in third, and then Hungary in fourth. Here we go. It's much more experimental. Oh, there you go. I believe Hackerstop was talking about the greener mod. He was discussing it. But we also had the consolation tournaments as well. We did have the semifinals. Poland took down Bolivia 5-1. Unfortunately, there was some walkovers, but Killer B and Charlie Cox, they tied 1-1. Mathix takes down Havertz 2-0. Poland does claim the win. Peru takes down Germany 4-2. Very nicely done here. We had Chefcito. El Chefcito takes down, they ties with Wally 1-1. We had Lobo and Lutrax also tied 1-1, and Ame took down Regal 2-0. So Peru made it all the way to the finals, and I believe we have yet to actually conclude this event. We still have Poland versus Peru in the grand finals, going to be taking place in 3 days' time. So best of luck to Polonia, best of luck to Peru, best of luck. Let's say face off in those finals. For the consolation match. Again, there's no prize pool for the consolation match. These are just teams that got knocked out earlier in the event. Speaking of team leagues, up next we do have the final team league to wrap up, to catch up on. It is the Elpis Team League 2026 quarterfinals. The quarterfinals that take place, and who is the superest of all kitties? Super Kitty 1 takes down Super Kitty 2 5-3. We did see. Oh, okay, we gotta hold on. Time to whip out Google Translate. Silky. Silky takes on Ghost Runner 2-0. Silky, he is the ace player of Super Kitty 1. Then had Smile taking down his opponent 2-1. We then had a 2-1 scoreline in favor of, is this Shafe? Hold on. Oh no, that's Keyboard Superman. That's Keyboard Warrior. Let's go. Takes down his opponent 2-1 to claim the win in the finals for Super Kitty. They advanced on to the semis, then had Team Little Fairy up against Toho Project. Ear takes down his opponent 2-0. UD Soldier, the new ace player of Little Fairy, takes down his opponent at 2-0 as well. We had Daydreamer taking down Sanchovies 2-0, but again, in the end, Little Fairy do advance on to those semis. Scrolling down, we had Starlight Twinkle up against Super Kitty number 3. Okay, Jolly Loves falls to his opponents. Hold on. Who is that? Este Jolly Loves. He does fall to Bang Bang Chicken. Lovely. God damn it. So Bang Bang Chicken takes down Jolly Loves 2-0. We then had Rewhite taking down his opponents. It can nap 2-0 himself, and Triple H takes down Johnny 2-0. Wait, isn't Triple H Protoss? Isn't Rewhite Protoss? Wait, what? I think they were having fun. Rewhite off racing as Zerg and Triple H off racing as Terran. Interesting here. I mean, Super Kitty 3 I think is full of more amateur players, so they felt like they could off race, and they did win in their off race matches. Up next, we had PCEC versus Starties. Here we had, I believe this is Nanyu. Let's see. Alright, so we just know about it. Nanyu takes down his opponent 2-0. I'm not familiar with too much with the Astartes players. This is Goming DJ. Okay. Gumin. Takes down Gumin at 2-0. We then had, I believe this should be Millennium Fox, correct? No, sorry, that's Sarah Carrigan. Yeah, sorry. Sarah Carrigan takes down Latte 2-0, and I believe, is this Nanami Chiaki? No. Who is this? But wait, what? That's Millennium Fox. He off-raced? I mean, I guess his series didn't matter that much. But Millennium Fox, he off-races as Protoss and does fall to his opponent, so maybe having a little bit too much fun there. But in the end, they already won the series, right? They already won the series. So PCEC, they advance on into the next round to face off against Starlight Twinkle. Now we have our top 4 teams, and these are the top 4 teams in China. We have Super Kitty, we have Little Fairy, Starlight Twinkle, and PCEC. Gopa, who do you predict to win the entire event?
I feel like it would only be fitting if Super Kitty won a tournament. They put so many kitties in this tournament. At least one of them has to be victorious, you know?
There's so many cats in this event. There's only one Super Kitty team left though. Only one. Ah. Okay.
Super Kitty 1 had to prove once again that it's superior, you know, among all the other kitties.
They are the superest of all kitties.
Yeah.
Yes. Not wrong. I'm gonna lean towards, for me, it's whoever wins between Starlight Twinkle and PCEC. I feel like it's gonna be whoever wins there. Unfortunately, I know that Little Fairy did well making it this far, but I do think that Little Fairy is significantly weaker now that they don't have Shameless. Right now, because Shameless left the team, UD Soldier is a good player, don't get me wrong, but that is a bit of a step down from what they once were. And likewise, Super Kitty, they're good, but it's literally just like Silky and the boys, you know. It's
yeah, that's the pick. Like the realistic pick is the lower semifinal as one of those. But you know, they put so much effort. There's so many kitties.
Yeah, it's true. The meme lives strong. So best of luck to Super Kitty, of course. Best of luck to Little Fairy. Between Starlight Twinkle and PCEC, who do we favor? I mean, PCEC is like the young team, right? They've got Nanyu, they've got Millennium Fox. I think they have Nanami Chiaki as well. Like they've got all like the younger up and comers that have been doing really, really well. It's Starlight Twinkle, which is like the old guard of like Triple H, Jolly Loves, Rewhite, Young Zest. I feel like historically, Starlight Twinkle are the favorite team, but PCEC, that's like the next generation of Chinese players, and I wish them the best. I want them to win. I want them to win. I think it would be big for them as a team. So best of luck. Best of luck to PCEC. It's like the brain is Starlight Twinkle, the heart is PCEC, and the cat is Super Kitty. Okay.
You have a cat brain?
Best of luck. No. No, you know it's you know what the bunnies. What do they pick? Well, I think they'd go for Little Fairy. I think they might.
Is this the time when you put the 2 balls in front of them?
Yes. I'm gonna have the 2 bowls with the pellets, and we're gonna have.
You know what would happen though, right? So what would happen
if it's the same pellets? By the way, same pellets.
If it's the same pellets, what would happen would be that Chi-Chi just goes for the closest one and eats both, like as soon as possible. And Karina comes up, is like, this one. No, this one. No, maybe this. She's like, takes one of each, like one piece from each bowl, and just keeps going back and forth. That's what would happen. And it would get no results.
We have to come up with something for the bunnies. Like we'll give them like a bunny burrito, and like whoever pulls out the most, like that side wins, or like like the bowl with the food. Like we got to come up with something for it. To pick some decider matches for predictions. True. We'll figure it out. But yeah, best of luck. Best of luck as quarterfinals are going to be underway. That leads us into the regional events. Oh my god, there's still a lot to get through this week. So a lot happened this week. Leads us into the regional events. Up first, we do have the Kofa Giants Cup. The return of Kofa Giants Cup, I should say, number 28. This is a bi-weekly Brazilian-only tournament, and we had the return of Eric. Eric did mark his return here. Eric, he did take a lot of time off. He was suffering from some wrist pains and some wrist issues, but recently did come back. It did let us know that his pains had subsided. He did, and he's still kind of like building himself back up. Did fall to Master 2-0 in the semifinals, so my condolences to Eric. But again, he's still kind of finding his footing. Master, he's the dominant force in Brazil, takes on Eric 2-0, takes on an inexorable 3-0 to claim the entire event here. GG well played to Master. GG well played. And a shout out to Cosmos as well for sponsoring, for hosting the event. And of course, Code for Giants for sponsoring the event itself. So much love to Cosmos. That leads us into Sunrise Cup. Sunrise Cup number 226 is a weekly tournament for the Chinese region, for the Chinese scene. And interesting. So we have Millennium Fox on the top. We do have, who is this on the bottom? Shen. Not a player I'm familiar with, actually. Interesting. I want to say they've been in the bracket before, but I don't think they've ever made it this far. They've never made it to the finals. Yeah. Actually, hold on. Does he have another name? Is it like Blooming? Let's see. No, not a player that I'm very familiar with here. Okay. He's been playing for a while, that is true, or at least his team has been. But more of a recent player. So yes, so Shenshen, he takes on Oriana. Big win. Takes on Oriana 2-1. I do typically favor Oriana to go further in these events. But in the end, we did have Millennium Fox claim the win over Shenshen 3-1. GG well played to Millennium Fox. Again, he is kind of like the younger up-and-comer. He's been getting some very good results over time. There's a reason why I did mention that his team, PCEC, is kind of like the younger team that has all this like fresh talent that's been doing really well and has potential to go far in the team league. So congratulations to Millennium Fox, does claim the win. That leads us into the Chicken King Cup. A Chicken King Cup Code A. Okay. Here we, I believe, had the events wrapping up. It did begin quite some time ago. And recently did wrap up. Here, I'm not really too familiar with many of these players. I do see Latte. Latte, in my mind, is the most notable players and does claim the entire win. Takes down ZD in the grand final. So GG well played here to Latte. I'm curious as to what were the criterias to actually be a part of this event. Maybe it was MMR restricted or league restricted. But regardless, congratulations to Latte for claiming the win. Does claim the win here. Again, was a more notable player. That leads us into the Code S edition, the Code S version of this tournament here. This is where we have all the big names. Okay, we have SCV. SCV takes down Millennium Fox in the upper bracket quarterfinals. Big win here for SCV. Millennium Fox gets knocked down, went all the way to the ace match. Millennium Fox, he actually took down Jolua Loves to get there as well. So did well for himself, but the run does end short. We have SCV versus, I believe that is Nanyo. I believe that is Nanyu in the next round. Yep. So Nanyu is Millennium Fox's teammates. So they're facing off in the upper bracket semifinals. Who did Nanyu beat in the upper bracket quarterfinals, though? Oh, that was Keyboard Superman. That was Keyboard Warrior. Took him down to 0. Now it's facing off against SCV. Scrolling down a little bit further here, we have Hydira. Okay, we have Hydira taking down his opponents. Who is this? Oh, that's Shafe. Hey, there he is. Takes down Shafe 2-1. Hydira does advance on to the next round. Who is this person, though? I've never seen them before. Like, I've never seen the ID Hydira in a lot of these Chinese brackets. So interesting. He's up against his next opponent in the next round. That is someone who took down Oriana previously. Big win. Oh, that's Sarah Kerrigan. So Sarah Kerrigan, who was playing in the team league earlier. Takes down his opponent 2-1, is up against Hydira in the next round as well. Do we have any other notables here? I'm curious where Nanami Chiaki is, if at all. Hold on. Might just not be playing in this event. Like, I feel like we're missing some players. Like, there's no Rewhite, there's no Young Zest, there's no Potato. And from my understanding, there's no Nanami Chiaki either. Yeah. But when it comes to the event itself, who do we favor here? I mean, SCV, as much as I'm a fan of, like, Nanyo and Millennium Fox and Sarah Kerrigan, SCV has been looking like a beast as of late, has been getting some very impressive results. I would say that SCV is the favorite player to win the entire tournament. We'll see who can stop him. Like, I would say that Millennium Fox and Nanyo had maybe the biggest chances to stop SCV, and they do have the biggest chances. I mean, hey, SCV he already bled against Millennium Fox. We have potential for Millennium Fox to... No, never mind. He went down earlier. Oh my, who's took him out? Who's this? That's Silky. No, Silky and Millennium Fox went all the way to the ace match down there. Okay, went all the way to game 5. I'm impressed just because I do rate Silky very highly. So to see Silky force the ace match is impressive. Who took him down initially? Hold on. Wait, did Silky begin in the... No, he went down to Hydira. Who is Hydira? What's going on? So I'm just checking here. Silky took down Millennium Fox, which makes sense. But Silky in the upper bracket got knocked down by Hydira. Who is Hydira? Who is this? Gopa. What's going on?
Don't look at me. It's probably like the 10th nickname of somebody that we already know.
It is, that's the thing. It's most likely someone that we already know, but it's just a different ID. God damn it. Ay, ay, ay. We look it up. It's like XY. It's like, God damn it. So yeah, Hyderia. That's crazy for Hyderia to take down Silky, and to take down his next opponent as well. To take down Chafé. Interesting. I'm still leaning towards SCV, but Silky's in the lower bracket, so Silky can always come back and have a big comeback as well. Those are the two big notables. Otherwise, best of luck to all the other players. Best of luck to Nanu. Best of luck to Hyderia. Sarah Kerrigan. Best of luck. GG. Chafé. But GG well played. Best of luck. Again, by the time we get the next podcast, we should be wrapping up this event. I believe we might be. It looks like it's scheduled to end on the 29th. We'll see how strict they are when it comes to the schedule. See how they're strict. As that leads us into Legacy Weekly Japan at number 494 open. Hope, where's my Tapioca? There they are. We got Boba. Tapioca takes down Akira 2-0, takes down Kaiman 2-0, takes down Deadly Kitten 2-1, and takes down Noah Shirayuki 2-0 as well. GG well played. No surprises here, but again, at this point, Tapioca is the best player in Japan and is expected to win every single time they show up. We are missing Vaishravanya. Vaishravanya is nowhere to be found. There's Kazumon, there's Sayark as well. So we're missing like a couple of players here and there, but overall, Tapioca does claim the win over Noah Shirayuki. GG. GG well played. Congratulations here to Tapioca. That leads us into Waterfall Cup number 3. This is a big event for the CIS region, with notable players like Skillus, Minizerg, GG Machine, and many, many others. Here, Skillus takes down F2 Click 2-0, takes down PvP Power 2-0, takes down GG Machine 2-1. Big win there, as GG Machine did make him bleed, and actually he got knocked down by Young Yakov. 2-0 to Young Yakov. Yakov, he was popping off. He 2-0'd Shameless, he 2-0'd Skillus, and then we had the rematch in the finals. Skillus versus Young Yakov, and Skillus does claim the win 3-0 and then 2-1 over Yakov. Skillus coming into this was the favorite player, but to see him struggle and to see Young Yakov bring it down, shout out to Young Yakov. And also, again, to drop a map to GG Machine as well. So impressive play by the younger up-and-comers. I'm a little bit surprised that Shameless got knocked out early, getting knocked down by Young Yakov. I mean, they're both very close in skill, but no surprises here, actually. Looking at the lower bracket, Art takes down Shameless, and again, we've been giving praise to Art the entire day here. Art, he took down Showtime, he took down Zound. Like, Art, he's a beast in PvP, and here he takes down Shameless 1-0. GG. GG well played. Art has been looking like an animal as of late, over this past week of play. So congratulations to Skills for claiming the win here for Waterfall Cup number 3. Again, Waterfall Cup is a tournament organized by Middle VK. Middle VK organizing Firegrow Cup, Sunny Lake Cup, Waterfall Cup as well. Interesting name scheme when it comes to the events. I'm sure it all makes sense. It's fine. Shaking my head.
Look, we want to talk, okay? We've sparked into that guy,
okay? We have a theme. We got a theme. Like, we got animals. He's got... What is the through line between Firegrow and Waterfall? Okay, what is happening? What's going on?
It's the elements. It's the elements. Fire, water.
What about Sunny Lake?
There's the sun. You know, the elements.
The sun. You got the lake. Yeah. Yeah. Fire and water. Okay. Combined. Where's the steam cup? Where's the where is the steam cup? That's what I want to know. The boiled water cup. We'll see. I'll message Mindle. I'll ask him for it. I'll make him explain it.
I remember we were talking about before how we should ask Mindle about the Earth Cup, you know, to like complete the elements.
Yeah. We are missing the Earth Cup. Yeah. Like the sandy beach cup. The muddy water cup. God damn it. But congratulations on the Let's Say the Skillers. Up next, we do have OSC Elite Rising Star number 18. We covered this earlier this morning. We were covering, of course, day number 4, and we were able to cover the upper bracket quarterfinals with this Lelix. He took down an Inexorable 2-1 to face up against Sheamus. Alright, I should also explain. This event is for players that did not, which have yet to really achieve big results and big placings in big offline events. So your top players like Cyril, Rainer, Björn, Zaun, all these top players are ineligible for these events. These are for the younger up-and-comers. These are for the rising stars, if you will. Rising stars. So Lelix takes down Exorbital 2-1 to face off against Shameless. We have Milky Cow takes down Jimmy 2-1. That was a big win for the cow. GG Machine takes down Rebellion 2-0 as well. So we have our top 4. We have Shameless, Lelix, Milky Cow, and GG Machine. As I mentioned before, Shameless, he is the one to beat. He is the big name here to bring down. And I do want to believe that both Milky Cow, GG Machine, and Lelix can threaten Shameless. We'll see if they can stop him though. We'll see. Scrolling down a little bit further, we had some other results as well. Some players were eliminated. Remember, this is double elimination. Double elimination, so plenty of games, plenty of matches to come. We have Moja versus Rebellion, Baby Marine versus Mini Zerg. We have more matches ahead of us here. Still plenty more weeks of StarCraft of Rising Star, and we'll do our best to cover it. We did cover the majority of this event so far, but I believe there was a week of steadfast coverage, and depending on who's available, they'll be covering the event. Whether it's ourselves, Steadfast, Chicken Man, Dave Testa, Wardy, whoever is available. But GG, well played. As the event does continue, that leads us into our Open Cups, into our Open Tournaments. Here we have our Open Cups, Sparkling Tune Cup, the STC number 128. Again, we do organize and host the longest running Open Cup out there, longer running than any other Open Cup. So we have that accolade to us. We survived. We persevered. Coming into this event, so we did have Classic, he did pop off, takes down Perceive 2-0, takes down Art 2-0, Young Yakov 2-1, went all the way to the ace match. Yakov once again takes down Shameless. This is becoming more of a regular event, by the way. Yakov's wins over Shameless is becoming more regular. Classic does advance on to the grand finals 2-1 over Young Yakov. Young Yakov had a nasty all-in on 10,000 feet, but that was the only game that he was able to win. Scrolling down, we had Creator took down Nickrak 2-0, took down Geralt 2-0. I don't want to gloss over this. Geralt took down Percival. I would say that's a big upset. Percival has been looking very strong as of late, very scary, very terrifying, but does get brought low by Geralt of Rivia, so very impressive. As Creator takes him down 2-0, then we had the grand finals, and honestly, Creator was looking like a beast. He was up 2-0. Creator, he won on Title Sigil. He won on Winter Madness. He was up 2-0. He was so close to winning the entire event, but Classic pulled off the reverse sweep. Was able to bring it all back here. It did feel like maybe the nerves got to Creator a little bit here. As Creator, he stopped being aggressive. He started being a little bit more tame, a little bit more passive, and did end up dropping 3 games in a row. Old Republic, White Rabbits, and Ruby Rock. In the end, Classic did claim the win over Creator. GG will play. GG will play. Congratulations. Classic is going to be this week's Sparkling Tuna Cup champion. That led us into the Wardy TV Monday. Wardy TV Monday number 78. This is Wardy's weekly Open Cup. Here we have a little bit more of a European presence in the upper echelons here. We had Clem. Taking down Shameless 2-0. Max takes down Hero 2-1. Big win there for Max. Max takes down Clem 2-1 as well. Max popping off. Meanwhile, when it comes to the lower portion, we had Hearthstone 2-0 Showtime. That's a big win. That could have changed everything. I could see a PvP finals between Max and Showtime if Hearthstone didn't cause that upset. So a big win there for Hearthstone, takes down Showtime. I'm sure the other players are very happy about that. Percival takes down Hearthstone 2-0. Solar takes down Percival 2-0 after taking down Björn as well. And then we did have that back and forth in the finals. Max takes down Solar 3-2 to become this week's Wardy TV Monday champion. GG. GG well played. Congratulations to Max. Does claim the win. That leads us into the Monday Night Weeklies. Monday Night Weeklies is the more European-centric event organized by TKL and those at Comeback TV. So big shout out to the French community for hosting this event on a weekly basis. We had Hero. Hero takes down Geralt 2-1. Geralt took a map. Takes down Gabe 2-1. Gabe also took a map as well. Very impressive. Even taking down Björn initially. Hero does advance on to the upper bracket finals. This time he gets his revenge. Remember, Max beat Hero in the Wardy TV Monday. Hero beats Max in the Monday Night Weekly 2-0. Big win there by Hero. Gets his revenge over Max. Björn knocks Max out of the tournament. Crazy win there. Björn, he gets his revenge over Big Gabe. He takes down Max. And then we have the grand finals. Hero over Björn in the best of 3. GG. GG well played. Hero does claim the win in the Monday Night Weekly. That leads us into Pigstar Cup. Pigstar Cup number 73. Here we likewise had a plethora of Terran and Protoss players. We had Cure taking down Creator 2-0. Cure takes down Clem 3-1. Big win there for Cure to, I would say, cause that upset. Clem's Protoss is terrifying, but Cure does bring him down. Likewise, we had a Hero taking down Shameless. Hero took down Percival 3-0. Don't want to gloss over this. Percival, he once again took down Beyond. Percival over Beyond has become more and more regular as of late, and has been beating Beyond on a regular basis. So big win there once again for Percival. Does fall to Hero, and then we had that best of 5 finals back and forth between Cure and Hero, and all the way to the ace match, and Cure barely did win it out. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Cure for becoming this week's Pegasus Cup champion. Breaking the chain here, we had non-stop Protoss as of late. We had Classic winning Tuna Cup. We had Max winning the Water TV Monday. Hero, he won the Monday Night Weekly. And then Cure does break that chain. He does break the mold here. No Protoss champion, not this time in Pegasus Cup. GG. GG, well played. That leads us into last night's Kung Fu Cup, actually. Kung Fu Cup number 1. We were going to cast this live, but again, it starts a little bit too late for us at the moment, so we're going to be covering this via replays at a later date. Here we had a massive bracket. It was like 56 players. It was crazy. That around a 64. But Hero takes down Trigger 2-0, takes down Zound 2-0, takes down Beyond 2-0. Jesus. Breezes his way all the way to the finals. Beyond did have an upset before that. Beyond took down Classic in the quarterfinals, so big win there for Beyond. Meanwhile, scrolling down to the lower portion, we had Solar. Solar took down Cure 2-1, went all the way to the ace match. Solo took down Rogue 2-0 in the ZVZ, and then we had Solar taking down Hero in the grand finals. Big win here for Solar, taking down Hero 3-1. I would say an upset. GG, well played. I mean, Solar, he has been looking very strong in ZVP. We've been seeing a lot of all-ins out of Solar, and I'm sure that was a short finals. I'm a little bit surprised we're missing players though. I feel like this was a good time for Europe. It was a good time event for Europe. I mean, that's why we had Showtime, we had Lambo. But for this event, there's no Clem and there's no Max Packs. Clem and Max Packs are regulars here in these kind of events, and they're nowhere to be found. GG. GG, well played. In their absence, Solar does claim the win. And that wraps up our weeklies. Again, Kung Fu Cup, they're back as a regular event. And again, we should be able to cover them via replays, and eventually we'll be able to cover them live once Daylight Savings kicks in. Right now, Daylight Savings does mean, without it, it means that it starts a little bit too late here in Australia. But in a couple of weeks' time, it should be starting a little bit earlier, and then we can cover it live. We will get there. Otherwise, if you want to sign up for these events, if you want to take part in these tournaments, you can do so via the sign-up list. ! Sign-up list in the chat. So there are plenty of events throughout the course of the week. We have the Rewind. What is this? We have the Rewind Cup. Oh, SEVO. Oh, organized by Zardians. Okay, I see you. Esther Zardian. But we have the Rewind Cup, potentially the first of many. Hard to say. I don't know if this is going to become a regular tournament. We have the Rewind Cup tomorrow. We have Kofa Giants Cup, KSL Youth Thermals 2v2 Cup. We have Kofa Giants Cup LATAM Edition as well. We have Legacy Weekly Japan. Plenty of tournaments, plenty of StarCraft on the horizon. Do check it out. All available on that sign-up list. It's all there. It's all available. Likewise, you can help support us via Patreon. Our Patreon does fund our tournaments on a regular basis. You saw our MSO tournament earlier, the Masters One Open. You saw the Sparkling Tuna Cup. They are all funded via Patreon. So you can help us grow those tournaments as well via the Patreon and boost the prize pool and reach our next stretch goals. You can help us out via Patreon. Likewise, we also give benefits. Replay packs are available here to all of our patrons, so you can check us out via, or you can support us and can gain those benefits via Patreon. Can gain them. But otherwise, thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for tuning in. You can also check out the VODs over on YouTube. YouTube is the place to be. We do upload on a regular basis here, so you can check us out there. Otherwise, we'll be back tomorrow. When it comes to the rest of our schedule here, we should be returning tomorrow for Kofa Giants Cup. Kofa Giants Cup LATAM Edition is going to be tomorrow, and then we have a busy weekend with RSL. The RSL playoffs are over the weekend. It's going to be a very intense weekend of StarCraft. KSL also over the weekend as well. A lot of content, a lot of StarCraft. So do check it out. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks so much for the support. And you can follow us here on all the socials. We'll see you guys tomorrow or next time for some more StarCraft. Until then, take care. See you next time. Ciao. Bye. Ciao. See you next time.